Hello, this is Dr. Tan, and thank you for watching. I wanted to give a video on how to build teams within Summoner Duels Survival. There are a lot of archetypes that could be utilized across your SCS teams that you can utilize on different maps. For a lot of people, I have noticed whenever I'm playing against them is that the team building kind of appears to be all over the place with units that are generally good, but in the given composition they don't make sense. Therefore, they fail to achieve what their desired goals are. Before I begin, I want to give a quick shout out to Shadow again. This is his tier list making tool, so I'll be providing a link to this tool along with his YouTube channel in the video description. So I'll go ahead and hop right into probably one of the most effective and longer lasting team archetypes to this day, which is the legendary Sakura hit and run strategy. So obviously this strategy revolves around legendary Sakura's salvage effect, which allows units to canto back within 2 spaces of legendary Sakura as long as they are within 6 spaces of her. This enables a hit and run strategy with strong offensive nukes which have a large range coverage. Because of this hit and run strategy, they don't have to prioritize or consider too much defense, which allows them to be able to use more offensive units. When building a legendary Sakura team, first of all, legendary Sakura is required, but then you have to consider which nukes you want to utilize for a strong range coverage of the entire map, or at least a good most portion of the map. Common allies of legendary Sakura are young Camilla. She is still in the meta because of her strong range coverage, and she does have quote-unquote infinite damage based off of how many bonuses and penalties are active on the foe and the foe's allies within 2 spaces of the foe that she is targeting. Her passive preferred skill, I believe, allows her to apply Divine Haze to the nearest foe and 2 spaces around the foe, and then warp to any divine terrain on the map. I think within 6 spaces or so. I can't quite recall, but regardless, the warping range is quite big, and she has pass within her own preferred skills. As for other nukes that you can utilize, you also want to utilize high range nukes that either have like 3 range styles, such as Harmonic Gravelin, Brave Male Byleth, for example. You could also run, I'm going to call it Umalin, where she can grant out a bonus of Style 2 effect to her allies. So allies that are warping are still able to attack within 2 ranges of where they are warping to, which can sometimes bypass Divine Vein Vert or Warp Bubble. Other units that you should consider using with Legendary Sakura are units that do have pass built into their weapons, such as Aided Loot or Ninja Yunaka, for example. Other strong contenders are other flying units that come with like the Heavenly Soar effect, which have pass built into their slot B skill, and other warping units such as Winter Ivy. Cavalier units also make good use of this team comp. Spring Erica and Arena Fur do make good use of this. Arena Fur is a bit of an older unit, but she still has infinite damage similar to young Camilla, but she has less range than she does. Spring Erica is a strong ally of legendary Sakura, given that she's essentially a delete button, even with the 3 range style. You do want to consider whenever you're making SDS teams, though, that some resources may be more valuable on other teams whenever you're team building. So maybe like say you have Legendary Sakura, Spring Erica, and Young Camilla. Obviously, putting all 3 of these on the team would create a very strong team, but you have to consider that Summoner Duels Survival implements a ban stage where the opponent can ban 2 of your teams. If they see a Legendary Sakura, Spring Camilla, and Spring Erica and a Young Camilla on the same team, the chances of this team getting banned kind of goes up pretty high, actually. No one wants to fight a team that has almost infinite range on a map. So you need to consider that, okay, what teams are going to be likely to be banned here, and do I want to be able to use a team on a given map? Also, you may want to be able to allocate other units to other teams that make good effective use of other team archetype strategies. Next thing for this team archetype would be action economy. This can help stall out your opponent so that they have to force themselves into awkward positions, such as poor, like they have to abandon their opening, and they have to enforce poor positioning for their team, which case you're able to slowly encroach upon their space and even wait onto turn 2 so that you can warp in and then kill something and then retreat, or you can kill something at the end of the turn and then warp back and then start the turn with an advantage. Action economy can also be good with units that re-enable Kanto. I don't have Legendary Ninian on here. I could have used her as an example, but dancers that allow you to re-enable the Kanto stat, the Kanto effect, are also very effective because it allows you to go in, nuke something, retreat back, and then dance, go in, kill something else, and then retreat back. Fortunately, the Byleth Emblem Ring does achieve this, so perhaps action economy isn't required, so this could actually just be changed to a 0 to 1. I don't know what's up with the formatting here, but anyways. But yeah, action economy is a recommendation for this team so that you're able to play more flexibly around your opponents. Next thing is you want to consider using supports. Larather is a teammate that has come with Legendary Sakura in the past because the assigned decoy status effect is being applied. It's technically a bonus, but in the use case of Larather, it's kind of treated as a penalty because you don't want your lowest defense units to be taking hits. This does force your opponents to position themselves awkwardly so that their supports are not being targeted from assigned decoy. But also, it can mess up your foes' saviors so that, let's say that, I don't know, Arena Crom or Arena Marth and Formortis are on the opposing team, and Arena Marth gets applied with the assigned decoy status. But someone like Heimdallr is positioned so that she could be saved by either Arena Marth or Formortis, but you can't have two saviors acting on the same time, so neither of their savior effects would trigger, and therefore Heimdallr would be open to an attack. Another effective support ally would be Fallen Dimitri. He does a splash effect of Undefended at the start of turn to the nearest foes' allies within 2 spaces. It's a splash effect of Undefended. This also does shut down saviors outright, which can be an effective offensive strategy. But other supports that you can bring along are Heimdallr, so that you're able to position yourself a little more flexibly, pushing someone out into the middle of the map without much concern of being attacked. Other units that you could use are either the volleys, because they can help with sweeping up, like follow-up sweeps, or maybe you lose your Camilla. Volley is sometimes a difficult unit to take care of in the later rounds of Summoner Duels, so you could consider running either of these. And then the Legendary Release is here as well. She's able, with her frozen attack style, she's able to reapply Divine Vein Haze, so that units such as Lute, Yunaka, and Camilla are able to warp in and take out the foes easily. Now you can also run saviors. Mythic Adult Tiki can help with making sure that this salvage status doesn't get cleansed by Summer Thor or Mythic Loki, for example. But she's not necessary. I would say that saviors are not necessary for this comp, but they are optional for, let's say, for example, you're on a map where, depending on walls or position, like starting position of maps, you might find that running a savior is more preferable, or maybe you're just lacking a nuke that sufficiently does the job, and you need a savior to make sure that you increase your longevity in the duration of Summoner Duels. At the bottom here, I provided some examples that you could consider utilizing. In the first example, Legendary Sakura, Young Camilla. So Young Camilla is the primary nuke with Lute as the ranged secondary nuke. We have Emblem Corrin here, so that she is able to apply a wide range of divine terrain for her allies to be able to warp around. And then Heimdallr here for the extra level layer of defense. She can also be considered like a sweeper nuke in case Lute and or Camilla do fall, in which case she can sometimes kill units. Second example is maybe you don't have young Camilla, but you have some other units that you can utilize. The Ninja Yunaka would be the primary nuke, and essentially would almost be like the only nuke, with Tea Time Veronica and even Fallen Dimitri as being follow-up sweeper nukes. And then Emblem Corn here for the longevity. So in this strategy right here, you definitely want to have legendary Sakura running the Byleth ring, so that Ninja Yunaka will be able to warp in, kill something, warp out. Sakura ice locks onto Yunaka, she warps in, kills something, warps out. Tea Time Veronica therefore applying penalties such as the Feud, Exposure, and Discord, so that nuke capabilities are even stronger. And in this case, you might want to consider running a Salka ring on Fallen Dimitri, so that he, whenever he's maybe like Fallen Dimitri and Sakura are the only 2 units left on your team, Fallen Dimitri is able to warp in, kill something like something squishy, come back out. Sakura is able to dance with the Byleth ring, and then Fallen Dimitri is able to warp in and kill something else. Well, that'll do it for the legendary Sakura team archetype. I want to move into something I'm calling maximum range control. So this involves units that have 3 range styles on them, so that they control a larger portion of the map compared to other foes. So this involves Harmonic Brave Celica, Brave Male Byleth, Harmonic Summer Celica, Spring Erica, and Harmonic Brave Lyn. All 3 of these heroes have strong capabilities, especially from the 3 range, styles. Brave Male Byleth and Harmonic Brave Celica do have the disadvantage of not being able to use their 3 range style on the next turn, and they have to basically just use it every other turn, or 2 turns after its usage. But the 3 range style nukes are able to reuse their 3 range attack after, like on the turn immediately afterwards. So that is one advantage that these 3 have. They're also Cavaliers, so they're not dependent on a Tempest skill or a Sacred Ring. And one additional disadvantage that Harmonic Brave Celica and Brave Male Byleth have is that because that they are dependent on the extra movement, they are susceptible to stall effects from Heimdallr or Summoner Thor. So when running either of these 2 on such a team archetype, you want to make sure that you have a penalty cleanser on your team, or some kind of action economy, so that they can act, and then they are danced, and then or refreshed, and then they can act again. And then for this one, you definitely want bonus duplication. The preferred one is actually Arena Crom, because he comes with attack defense favor, which applies empathy, and then his preferred reposition skill does apply an additional bonus effect, which is like empathy and Canto 2. So you're just stacking stats onto the ally that you're repositioning for a ton of extra damage. Allfather can also be used here if you don't have Arena Crom. He does have the additional benefit of having Shadow Smite built into his weapon, and he has the in-combat support with the penalties and the the special cooldown deceleration. So the foe may jump backwards on being able to trigger the special, so they can help with longevity for your supporting nukes, or for your 3 range nukes. Next up after this, you definitely want to run some kinds of supports, at least one ally. I put Spring Thor on here. She's kind of like a generic placeholder for allies that do allow 2 range warping, so that you can have better openers. Plus she has a multiple drive effects, which do enable your 3 range nukes to hit harder, and I think survive as well. Legendary Elise is also here, so she's great for applying Undefended Stratus and Divine Bane Haze, and with the Drive Null Miracle effect. None of these units are must-haves, but they're definitely nice to have on your team. Heimdallr, gosh, it's almost hard to get away from these 2 units. Foresight Snare is the most annoying skill to deal with in the game right now, but having it applied for 2 of your allies, such as Arena Crom, Allfather, and one of your 3 range nukes, gives you a lot more freedom to work with whenever you're positioning yourselves in the opening or the first turn of the match. Volleys are here as well, helping out with the passive miracle effect and the drive disencounter extra attack and speed. They're not as necessary, but they definitely are good. Larth are here as well, so for similar reasons as what was discussed in the Sakura team. Assigned Decoy is something that cannot be cleansed because it's not considered a penalty. Summer Thor will always be good in this game, no matter how many Adult Tiki should throw at it, unless if you have 4 Mythic Adult Tiki kind of units. Mythic Loki, she is falling off a little bit, but we are getting her remixed and refined somewhat soon. I think within a year, so we may see her pop up again. Niffle got a very good refine with applying the Frozen and Flash status and Ice Wall effects onto allies that she repositions or uses her support skill with. Or if she doesn't use her support skill at all, then she just grants Ice Wall to herself. Being able to apply a Flash status mid-turn along with Frozen status is a very strong effect that is very hard to work around. And then Fallen Dimitri is here as well for the same reasons as discussed in the Legendary Sakura hit and run archetypes. You definitely want a secondary nuke to follow up with, because these units likely are only going to be able to act once per turn. So having someone else to cover that with high range or strong support systems with Hal and Freya is preferred. And then extra action economy for if you need to be able to act more than once and position yourself effectively, this can help you out. A Savior is also optional as well. And I've provided some more examples down here. In the first example, we have Harmonic Graveland as the primary nuke, and she is essentially the only nuke. But with the higher range coverage in Heimdallr and Summer Thor, it may be kind of difficult for anyone to kind of work around her range. Niffle is also there with the Ice Wall, so the foe may have trouble with getting in against this unit. The primary goal would be able to hit to nuke something and then retreat far back in such a way that the opponent's not able to make any more progress on. The second example would be use of a 3-range Cavalier nuke, in which case Arena Crom is repositioning Spring Erica for the high damage and also duplicating Foresight Snare. Then we also have Mythic Adult Tiki here to protect the entire team from the likes of Summer Thor and Mythic Loki, and then Volley for the follow-up sweeper support. Okay, and we'll go on to the next team comp. This one is a bit of a newer one that I believe we'll be seeing a lot more from now on, which I'm calling the Tana Dive Bomb. She is coming along with a effect of allies are able to work within 2 spaces of her after she makes an action such as an attack or a support effect such as drawback or reposition. So what can happen is that she in the opening turn will reposition or draw back someone and then just go straight into the enemy team where she's just in their face. Now, normally this wouldn't be an issue, but Heimdallr is on the team, so you want to make sure that either of these 2 Tanas have Foresight Snare applied onto her. So that way they would not be able to outright just nuke Tana right there, and will at least give you 1 turn to be able to warp someone else in and take something out and just start wreaking havoc. The units that you typically want to bring would, along with Tana and Heimdallr, would be a unit that would be able to go and hit something and not really care about being able to, or would be able to take some sort of retaliation. The first 2 options that come to mind would be, first of all, here's Baldur. When she goes and attacks something, she would then cleanse any penalties that she has on herself naturally. Her high speed and her speed-based tanking allows her to be able to survive most things that attack her in retaliation. But you can also give her the Emblem Edelgard ring so that she can attack again. And speaking of Emblem Edelgard, she is also right here. She can be a surprisingly hard tank to kill. When she's reapplying the Frozen status to her foe's allies, typically you want to run her with fortifications instead of her base slot A skill, so that she is able to acquire this encounter based off if she's on a divine terrain tile. Plus, having the extra action economy built into her kit is also useful for being able to just go in there and wreak havoc. What you may find is that she's able to take out 2 to 3 foes at the beginning of the first turn, essentially declaring the match a win for you. And then you want some other follow-up nukes. So a little bit of nuance here for follow-up nukes here. You want to make sure that the follow-up nukes that you have pass built into the weapon, generally. In today's day and age, or Emblem Corrin Ring, and Chosen Shorm are very prevalent. So Divine Terrain Vert and Warp Bubble is very common. So you don't want to bring nukes that don't have pass on them, because then you're just preying on the opponent for not having warp blocking or divine or Emblem Corrin effects. So you want to bring the units with pass effects so that they can essentially bypass that and be able to kill something in the retreat. These nukes don't have to be as bulky as like Mirror's Balder or Emblem Edelgard, but they should be able to effectively kill something, possibly survive something. Halloween Freya is a bit of an exception here because she provides strong reversal support. Given that Halloween Freya and Mirror's Balder are a strong pairing for the double reversal effects, you typically want to bring these two together on team comps that they are on. Next up, you can bring Sabers if you want. One interesting option they could bring is Brave Female Corrin, because what she can do is that, let's say you launch Tana into the front line, but Tana is staring down the face of Divine Terrain Vert, and half of her warp range is just gone. What you could do is warp in Emblem Corrin, swap the space with Tana, or reposition Tana forward, and then the Divine Stones will be applied and override the Divine Terrain Vert and Icicle, which would give more leeway for your allies to be able to warp in around Tana and start killing things. If you do bring Brave Female Corrin here, you want to make sure that she isn't a shield fighter build though, because she's going to be exposed to multiple kinds of attackers of physical melee range and ranged opponents. So she needs to be able to handle both categories here. Of course, with her being a saber, she's only be able to do a ranged or melee ranged saving, unless if she's a physical savior or a magical savior. Preferably a physical savior if you're going to be doing something like that. Next up, you want to run some kind of support as an option. Summer Thor will always be a good option for running support, but these are less required, I'd say. Volley probably being one of the better units you could throw on this team comp, because then she can warp in and kind of protect allies from being killed. You could also run some action economy to allow you to stall out your opponent in a way so that they are forced into awkward positioning, and you're able to go in and kill something at the end of the turn, and then have Foresight Snare being reapplied by Heimdallr at the start of the next turn. The below are some team composition options that you could run. Not too much to say about it, I kind of explained it already. But yeah, like for the first example here, pretty straightforward. Mirror's Balder is the initiator, with Yunaka as being the follow-up, and then Tea Time Veronica offering the stalling and the action economy and reapplying the penalties. Example 2 would be Emblem Edelgard, so this would kind of be focusing around Emblem Edelgard doing most of the attacking, where she'd go in, kill something, get Gale Force, go in, kill something, get another Gale Force, go in and kill something else. Winter Ivy as well here for the ranged nuking, in case she's having trouble dealing with an Omni Tinker frontliner that she just cannot kill. And then Summer Thor is here for cleansing bonuses. Next up is save balls. So these have been around a little bit longer with the introduction of Brave Soren when he came out with assigned decoy status. So all 4 of these units here are assigned decoy enablers. Arguably the blue Soren is better than green Soren, which is a bit sad, but it is what it is. Day of Devotion Hortensia is here, but she's kind of acting as a placeholder because anyone can run the Guardian Staff, but she herself is a savior, so you could run as a save ball with her. One downside of running the Guardian Staff is that you have to make sure that you're going first so that you're able to apply the Guardian effect immediately. That can create awkward scenarios of where maybe you're not able to get good positioning for your nukes and the opponent's able to move forward. One downside about this strategy is that everyone's going to be balled up together, so you're susceptible to foes such as Summer Thor and Loki. And also, young Camilla takes good advantage of allies that are all balled up together when you have a bunch of penalties and bonuses applied to you. Some candidates that are good for assigned decoy. I have Harmonic Grave Hector here, but he's kind of a stand-in for most of the relevant armors here. I didn't want to put everyone here, but if you have an effective armor unit that could work as an assigned decoy, then go for it. New Year's Balder is also here. This one can be debatable because she's primarily more of like an Omni tank nuke rather than a assigned decoy, but she can technically do it, though there are better options, and you may want to have her on a different team. Harmonic Brave Ike here is good for the distant counter support. He is also a very decent frontliner in lost scenarios, though he is not the best. So we're also getting a free copy of Harmonic Brave Ike, I believe, on March 18th of this month. So when this guy is available to you and you have one of these units, you can consider running this guy, so this can be more of a budget option. Volley is an excellent option for a Far Savior because of her Invincible Sister special, which makes it very hard for her to kill. Two foes have to attack her in most scenarios, where it's a bit of a difficult situation because you don't want to be attacking someone twice in most scenarios to kill something. You generally want to kill something on the first attack. Howling Freya is also here for some strong drive reversal support. She is also somewhat deceptively tanky with that speed defensive base reduction. Emblem Corrin here for the Divine Terrain Burt. When you replace a Savior skill, you could, or when you get rid of a Savior skill, you could replace it with like Breath of Life 4 or some other effect C slot that would be able to support your team otherwise, other than being a Savior skill. And then Mythic Adult Tiki here, probably one of the better options for assigned decoy because you'll prevent you're essentially covering up that weakness of Summer Footwork and Mythic Loki. And some other options would be Chosen Form and Chosen Alphonse. Chosen Alphonse actually kind of being a good magic savior because of his Brave effect. Being able to retaliate against mages generally have low bulk, so he can be an effective Far Savior. And same with Fjorm with her reflex attacks, and her preferred special gives her unpierceable damage reduction. So getting through all of these units can be quite tricky, but it's up to you on how you want to implement this team in such an assigned decoy. Next up would be Action Economy. I almost put this as a requirement because Action Economy is so vital for ensuring that your team is in a good position for taking out your opponents and surviving attacks. Emblem Micaiah probably being one of the better ones for the penalty cleansing. And her Silent Ward and her Slot C allows your assigned decoy and saviors to have the null counter disrupt effect on them if they don't have it already. Arena Crom is also fairly decent for this, for the Future Witness. I think it's called the Future Witness. But anyways, the preferred bonus allows your allies within 2 spaces to gain extra stats. And then Canto 2, which is not something that armor units generally have. So having access to Canto 2 for all your entire team is great for openers. We also have Summer Hathorn here. You could use the other Hathrons, but this one's one of the more recent ones. What is it called? Divine Dew. Her preferred bonus is very nice for longevity and healing in combat. We also have Summer Hilda here for the extra range, action economy, and the bonuses that you can be applied to your nukes. I also put Ninja Lucina here. She is a much older unit, but she can also be useful if you don't have Arena Marth. Then there's some other support options here. Anniversary Marth is very effective for applying extra bonuses for your allies and neutralizing movement effective weapons. So armors don't have to worry about armor effectiveness from... Gosh, who applies armor effective? Like, the one I think of is Legendary Calm, but he's not in the meta anymore. Other units that are useful for this team would be ones that enable good openers because of mobility and 2-space warping. Spring Thor, Chosen Ash, Emblem Micaiah, Attune Micaiah all offer that. Attune Micaiah also has a start of turn penalty cleansing and start of turn bonus inversion on foes. You also have Mythic Loki and Thor here, though Thor could probably be used elsewhere for more aggressive team comps, but Loki can be more effective on slower team comps so that she's able to position herself behind the save ball and not have to worry about getting attacked in general. Heimdallers will always be here. I have Mythic Volley on here twice, and Allfather also can be here. You know what? Wait, no. Don't put Allfather on here because he's also going to copy the assigned decoy status, and that's going to mess up your save ball effects. Below are some examples that you can utilize. Example 1 makes usage of Anniversary Marth applying +7 to all stats. Brave Ecthenir for granting the extra 3 to all stats after start of turn bonuses have been applied. Both of these Brave Ecthenir grants bonus fringe, and so does Anniversary Marth, so you're essentially like tripling their bonuses that are being applied to you. Brave Male Byleth for even more bonuses. Volley, you can use either of the volleys in this scenario here for the passive miracle, this encounter, extra stats, and so on and so forth, and Emblem Micaiah for the penalty cleansing. This particular team comp is very popular in my opinion, and I have been successful in getting multiple SCS rank 1s with this particular team comp, so I personally recommend it. Though Brave Ecthenir is starting to show his age a bit on his tankiness, so be careful with that, and make sure you have good coverage and ban your opponent's teams accordingly. Next option would be use of Hortensia. I've seen Day of Devotion Hortensia and Chosen Form being utilized together very frequently, along with Mythic Tiki, Volley, and Hilda. And then the last one is the Omni tank. So this one is the more generic option of the Omni tank. So this one is a much more flexible because you could use more options. So like maybe you have an older Omni tank that isn't listed here that you've been building on for quite some time. All of these here are effective Omni tanks in some regard, though some are better than others. Here's Balder. And then we have Action Economy. I'm going to say that this is a requirement. There's a lot more options available for Action Economy, but personally I think that the ones that apply bonuses rather than penalties are probably more preferred on such an Omni-Tank team, whereas Arena Marth, Alien Hilda, Tea Time, Ingrid, Emblem Micaiah, and even Emblem Byleth could be used in such a scenario. In the support effects, you want allies that are going to be able to grant some like extra movement, such as Summer Thor or Anniversary Marth, and other allies that apply penalties would also be good. Legendary Elise is there for Divine Terrain Haze, Healing, Ice Lock, etc. Volley to kind of be the glue for everyone. Allfather if you want to duplicate Foresight Snare, for example, and then Legendary Sakura, all-around great support unit. I put Attune Makai here as well if you want to run some extra movement and bonus and penalty cleansing, though she is old and has a hard time nuking things, so perhaps not running her, but if you're desperate for someone to run support, then you can choose Emblem Micaiah, but having at least one support unit is necessary in my opinion. And then I've also put the Ancient Nagi here for extra support. She's kind of a stand-in for if you have other support allies in mind that you want to run, that would be effective in supporting your Omni tank. Next up is the supporting nuke. These are not required, but they do help out a bit with covering range. Winter Ivy has the passive effects of granting extra speed, special jumping, and healing. And then other allies from here would be providing range coverage with strong nuking. Umalin I put here for the range 2 style, so that if your Omni tank is struggling with range or there's warp blocking here, she can help cover for that. And then I also put Attune Tharja here, which can be, I guess, considered unusual, but what's that effect called? Anyways, she applies a status effect to her allies within 3 spaces that during combat applies -4 speed, defense, and resistance. When you stack on that in an Omni tank ball such as this, that really adds up very quickly. Next up we have a Savior. This is almost a requirement, but I chose not to go this route because Maybe you have a lot of zone coverage, you don't have to worry so much about defense, or maybe you're running 2 Omni tanks. In which case, if you're running 2 Omni tanks, maybe you don't have to run a savior. But all of these allies here, all of these tanks, Omni tanks, are going to be effective in supporting your team and covering your supports. Main goal of this team is to support your Omni tank and have your Omni tank protect your support allies. Below are some examples you can utilize. Meteor's Balder and Howling Freya are a strong pairing because of the in-combat double reversal, Heimdall there for the Foresight Snare, Teen Time Veronica for the action economy and penalties, and then Emblem Corrin for the Saviors and the Divine Terrain Vert to prevent warping in and allies from taking out supports too easily. And the next one here is more of like an Omni tank role where you kind of launch Ike into the middle of the map, and then you have 2 supporting nukes where they are both covering the ranges that Ike might not be able to cover, with Winter Ivy providing a drive support. For Mortis here to protect your nukes in case somehow there's a warping effect that allows these 2 to be opened up, but for Mortis would be here to cover that. And then Winter Sather here for the action economy, and she's also a somewhat decent nuke, and she comes with the added bonus of being able to disable foes' actions at the start of turn. Okay, that's going to do it for now. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, then feel free to leave a like or subscribe to my channel. Thank you again, and have a great day.